What kind of business you in?
So I have two businesses. One is a sales training company. The other one is a general corporate training company.
Talk to that guy right over there. He needs some sales training for his referrers. Anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead. You have sales training business and what else?
And a corporate training business. Corporate training. So the difference is sales training, we only train salespeople and sales managers. The other company actually provide trainers that is not hired by us, but it's on a project basis. So if we secure a deal from a big company, we outsource to all these trainers. So that's a new company, just started this year. The sales training is branded Sales Ninja. It's a 10-year-old company. So we synergize among these two companies.
Right. All right. Now, if you were to take either one of the companies, take either one, is there one of those companies that has what you feel is a major challenge that you're just having some difficulty overcoming that particular challenge?
Okay. The new one. Right.
Okay, you can take either one.
The new one is like everybody else. So I'm trying to find a positioning. So what keeps me at night is I have not found a position. What is the best strategy to make it different from all other training providers? Because training provider business is just too easy to start. Everybody can start from their home, and they're competing against us because they know some trainers, they can go approach a client as well. So the differentiation is difficult for us. So I have not found the right statement that says, you know what, this is our USP, and boom, it beats the rest.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Put yourself in your client's shoes. Okay, who would be a typical client for you? Who would be if you were designing an avatar is like your perfect client, you're describing them, you know, what they look like, feel like, touch like, taste like. What would a perfect avatar client for that business be? What would they look like?
50 employees and above, believes in training, has a training budget, gives all training budget to one company. Avatar, right?
That's good. I mean, this is what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, so gives all budget to one company. Demands good service, wants to build personal relationship instead of just hit my KPI kind of HR director. What else? Okay.
I didn't hear the most important one I'd look for.
Results?
No.
No?
No, in my avatar, okay? So if anybody's designing an avatar for your business, listen to this, okay? I didn't hear the word pain point one time, okay? When I look for a client, I look for a client where I can identify a pain point that they have that keeps them up at night. That if I can solve that pain point, they have to have me, okay? And I position myself in their eyes as the solver of that pain point. If you were to take your perfect client, give me an example of a particular company that might be a client.
Actually, any company that has a training need analysis is a client. So if you're a small one...
Just give me an example of a business. Just pick a business, a specific type of business.
So we just closed a deal 1 month ago. It's a manufacturer. They do paper manufacturing. They manufacture paper, all kinds of paper.
Okay, so, all right, so they're a manufacturer of paper, and they're an ideal client for all the reasons that you they're a good client, right? Okay, good client to have because of all the things you said that before that you look for as in your avatar. All right, what do you suppose keeps that manufacturer, the owner of that manufacturing company, what do you suppose keeps him up at night? Because he asked you to come in for a reason, okay? He just didn't invite you in to be this trainer because he has no issues. So what was his biggest concern? What were the concerns that company had that they wanted you to solve?
So in this case, there's a 300 packs team building, which I outsource to the team builders. It's just a team building to them, so it doesn't want to solve specific problems. It's just, oh, this is our annual training budget for team building, and they awarded us because we found a good match of trainers for them. Pain point is just like, don't screw up, make sure they're happy, they're united, they start understanding the company's vision as a value systems, all this kind of stuff.
Okay. What you just described to me is the kind of client that probably everybody who goes into the consulting business looks for, okay? And so you're always going to have some competition finding those guys, and you're going to have to worry about the competition because you picked a plain vanilla guy who's got plain vanilla problems. What if you went one step beyond that and you start to look for a range of specific problems that certain businesses have, that the minute you mention that you can fix that problem, they're on board. They got to have this. And I'll try and maybe help think some of that through. Suppose, for example, that I've got a situation in a company where I've got half a dozen managers, and each one of them has big egos, and each one of them thinks that they're the ruler of the roost. And these guys can't get along worth a darn, but they're too important. I can't fire any one of them. I got to work with them. But if I could get these guys working together, I'd be ecstatic, okay, would end all my problems. All right. So now if I put out a prospecting letter or a prospecting email where I direct it to businesses with that specific problem, most of them throw my email in the trash. If you can throw an email in the trash, I guess you push delete. But now somebody reads that, okay, and says, my gosh, if this guy can solve my intermanager relations problems, I got to have this guy. Okay, there isn't anybody else who's going to get that job but you. And it doesn't matter if they've hired consultants in the past or not, because you hit a pain point. You hit something that keeps the owner of that business up at night. Again, if I were in your shoes, what I'd be doing is I'd be looking at the scope of the consulting business that I do. I'd look at the prospects that are out there for that business. And I would start to identify what could be pain points that I could fix for them. And then I would market to those pain points. Because when you do that, you are creating a client who has to have you. They're gonna say, where have you been? Why didn't you come to me before? As opposed to 100 guys went to him before, and you're fighting that stream all the time. Because everybody's looking for plain vanilla, who's already got the budget, who's already gonna do it, and everybody wants that guy, okay? Whereas there are guys out there that are hungry for you who haven't even thought about a consultant, but the minute you tell them what you can do for them, they gotta have it. See, when I told the story of what this Scale Force can do, I tell that story to people in presentations all the time. And the response I get is, where have you been? This solves all my problems in my business. You've solved all the problems I've been wrestling with for years. I had no idea how to organize this thing to take care of it. Got it, and it's all automated, okay? Because there's a pain point that everyone has in running a business, and it's called scaling it. They're not equipped to do it. They don't know how to do it. They don't have the right skill sets to do it. But yet everyone knows it has to be done, but they won't take the time to do it. And they're disinterested in that process, that even though that process would cure a lot of problems for them, they won't do it. Okay, because it doesn't fit them. It's not what they do. So you want to be able to go to a head of a business and be able to show them, I can do for you what you can't do for yourself. Okay, I can solve your biggest problem that you have here in this company, which is, and then if you do your list right, you've got a list of at least 5 to 10 things that are serious pain points in a business management structure. And you gear your whole presentation around solving those pain points. And I guarantee you do that, you will be unstoppable in the marketplace, because people have to have you. You're like Bayer aspirin, man. I got a headache, and I ain't gonna sleep tonight unless I get my Bayer aspirin, or Advil, I guess is the new one. So you want to be Advil. Okay, does that help you any in terms of thinking how to maybe crack those markets a little bit better?
Yeah, so basically, from my understanding is just find the key pain points, just specialize in those key points, and
your marketing approach specializes in those pain points, okay? And your approach tends to focus in on them. Because that's, in other words, again, there are two things that sell people anything, okay? One is benefit, okay? If I know how I'm going to benefit, I like the benefit, I'll buy it. Another way people buy stuff is I'm in pain, and I got to have this thing that'll stop my pain. I'd rather sell pain relief all day long than benefits. Why? Because I'm talking to somebody that has to deal with me, has to have it right now. As opposed to, oh, it's a great benefit. Let's talk next week. I can get the benefit next week. That's fine.
Can I clarify a question?
Sure.
So my target market are all people with pain points. Here's the budget, here's the TNA, training analysis. I need leadership for supervisors. I need finance for non-finance. I need ISO training. So they come with a list of, here's what I want. Help me find these things. The target market already have created their pain points. And they pass it to us. And we go match it with trainers and deliver the service.
Okay. Now, for each pain point, do you have a set presentation that if that's their pain point, here's what I go for. Here's what I say to them. Here's how I set it up so that they are aware of that pain point, that they know they have it, and that they know they need a solution, and that they know by what I tell them that my solution will work for them. Okay, because that's what each pain point should have around it. Okay, so now we have the pain point, and now we have the copy that tells us how we word it, are you familiar with something called neuro-linguistic programming? Okay, how you say something is as important as what you say. Okay, and the one place that most businesses don't put enough energy in is into the marketing concept by which they're going to get their business. In other words, they tend to get a little lazy about it. Okay, and it's just go out and talk to people, tell them what I do. It's not enough to tell people what you do. You've got to bring in their mind the pain point they have up to the surface so that they're looking at it right in their face. And then they got to see how you solve that for them. And all of a sudden it connects. Why they got to hire you, not the guy down the street, but you, because you're so focused on it. You understand them. You resonate with their pain. You understand what that pain is and how to fix it and how to cure it for them. The minute they believe that's true of you, they will buy you and they'll buy what you have to offer them. Okay. Okay, does that help any? Don't say yes if it doesn't. I want to get you to where you see how to move yourself forward a little bit on that.
I got a question from Real. That day I was sitting here at dinner, so he asked me, Michael Gerber said this. Michael Gerber's question is this. It's like, what would be almost impossible in your industry that if you solve it, you will be like dominating the market? I think it's a good question.
Right.
And she asked the same question, it's like, what's the pain point of my client? So basically, these HR directors have 3 key pain points of any companies, Canon or some large companies. Number one is understanding their own problems for the company, because they got to talk to the HOD, find out the problem with their departments, create a list of training programs for their departments. Pain point number 1. Pain point number 2 is, all right, let's find a provider that can find trainers that is able to solve these problems. So that's pain point number 2. And pain point number 3, what is the results? So these guys need to present charts to the boss that says, you know what, I just spent 150 grand on a team building and boom, this is the improvements, here's the communications improvement. So they need to show tangible results to their board or to their management team. So that's pain point number 3, they need to show results. So I thought of these 3 key pain points, and I thought, okay, if I can do these 3, that should be the positioning. Yeah. Thoughts?
Okay, now have you followed through on that?
Oh no, the coaching was like 2 nights ago or something.
Oh, you haven't got time then. But yeah, there's a lot to that. But the main thing is, again, I find in the things that I do, I want to identify pain points. Okay, scaling a business, which is one of the reasons I chose this, is a big pain point to people. They spend their whole business careers trying to scale their businesses and don't, and it's a measure of tremendous frustration. Anyway, we're getting the time sign here, so we're going to have to quit Enzo here. But hopefully,
I'm going to borrow some workbooks. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Thank you.
Let's give him a big hand. Come on, you guys.